mean, Meghan is an agent of poison. She actually is able to destroy relationships. And when she
And I do think the Sussexes are suddenly finding great problems about establishing.
She would get all the attention. I mean, the Harry walk up the hill with William was that just shown.
Oh my God, you're not ready for this one. Tom Bower just dropped the kind of royal bombshell that could shake Buckingham Palace down to its foundations. Forget whispers of King Charles simply distancing himself from Harry and Meghan. No, this is bigger, meaner, and final. The king isn't just backing away quietly anymore. He's reportedly preparing to cut them off completely from the monarchy. Not a pause, not a cooling off period. We're talking absolute severance. And let's be real, that's not just breaking royal tradition, that's devastation, that's history in the making. Sources close to the palace are saying Charles has finally hit the wall after years of humiliation, endless drama, Netflix bombs, and Meghan's revenge plots splashed across global headlines. The king is at his breaking point. He's done being embarrassed. He's done being toyed with. And what he's ready to do next? It could stun the entire world.
Tom Bower isn't some random internet gossip. He's an 85-year-old royal biographer who spent...
But wait, before you grab your popcorn, you need the backstory of how we reached this nuclear-level moment. Because the damage isn't just emotional, it's structural. What Harry and Meghan have built for themselves, their brand, their empire, everything could implode once Charles makes his move. If you want to be one step ahead of this unfolding royal war, you better strap in. This isn't just palace gossip. This is the biggest royal explosion of our lifetime. When Charles finally strikes, the monarchy as we've always known it, gone. Changed forever. Now, let's get this straight. It's not just family drama anymore.
When it comes to this Harry and Meghan photo, I have to be honest, I'm quite offended by it. Like, Meghan doesn't deserve.
Royal insider and expert Tom Bower has been crystal clear. What we're witnessing is nothing less than a revenge plot. Harry and Meghan aren't simply airing grievances. They're targeting Charles, William, Kate, even the late Queen herself. And here's the kicker. Meghan never truly planned on being a long-term Windsor. Nope, for her, the Duchess crown was a mere stepping stone, a launch pad into her self-proclaimed next chapter. She walked into the royal stage with big dreams of stardom, but reality hit hard.
Britain's top commentators speak out on controversial issues without the fear of the cancel culture sweeping the rest of the media. And breaking
hard. She hated being cast as second fiddle to the Queen. Meghan wanted the spotlight, the red carpet treatment, the main character energy. Instead, she was stuck in a script where the Queen was always the star and Meghan just supporting cast. Think about it. This is the woman who walked down that aisle at Windsor Castle in front of millions, expecting she'd be the face of the monarchy.
Move on to royal news now, Tom, because breaking tonight, the Daily Telegraph has revealed that
she thought she'd be the dazzling lead of the royal show, but nope. She had to follow rules, follow protocol, take orders like everyone else. And then came the crushing reality. Harry wasn't anywhere near the throne, which meant Meghan. She could never be queen. Can you believe it?
When it comes to these royal tell-all books, it is helpful to know who is writing them. We didn't have time in my last video to go in.
She married into the royal family, not even knowing how succession actually worked. She seriously thought marrying a prince automatically lined her up for the crown. The moment she realized William and his kids stood firmly between Harry and the throne, everything changed. Meghan might have stayed if she got to be the lead star, but once reality hit, her plans shifted fast. Tom Bower says this wasn't just ego. It was about power, money, and global influence. Meghan's ambitions were bigger than the crown could ever give her, and she wasn't about to settle for playing second tier. That's when the plotting started. That's when the exit strategy began. But here's where it turns savage. Meghan wasn't going to slip away quietly. No. Before she left, she made sure the royal family would feel her sting. She wanted them to pay for what she saw as their rejection of her star power. And the real tipping point? Something so petty yet so powerful. Their living situation. Behind those castle walls, Meghan wasn't living the dream. She was fuming. The inequality at Kensington Palace drove her absolutely crazy. Harry and Meghan, stuck with just 2 bedrooms in their palace apartment. Meanwhile, right across the hall, William and Kate were living like absolute monarchs in a 22-room luxury flat, complete with not 1 but 2 full kitchens. 22 rooms versus 2 bedrooms. 2 kitchens versus 1 modest setup. For Meghan, it was a slap in the face. Both couples were dukes and duchesses, but one was living like royals, and the other like tenants in a glorified servant quarter. Can you imagine? A duke and duchess shoved into 2 measly rooms while their in-laws lived in sprawling luxury. Meghan was livid. She couldn't wrap her head around the glaring inequality. And it wasn't just about space, it was about status. Tom Bower says Meghan was horrified when she discovered Harry wasn't nearly as rich as she thought. The spare prince didn't have endless millions waiting for him. There was no bottomless trust fund, no overflowing budget. He was living on daddy's allowance, an allowance that didn't even scratch the lifestyle Meghan envisioned. And let's be real, that was humiliating for her. every day, walking past William and Kate's expansive palace suite only to return to her cramped quarters? It was a daily reminder that she was second tier, that she'd never outrank Kate. Meghan's frustration turned to resentment, and that resentment turned into something toxic, not just for her marriage, but for the monarchy itself. And the fallout? Catastrophic. The accusations that Meghan and Harry began lobbing weren't harmless family spats. They were nuclear bombs aimed straight at the monarchy's reputation. And here's the brutal truth. Every single day, Meghan had to pass by William and Kate's palatial apartment, a kingdom in itself, while she trudged back into what felt like glorified staff housing. Every step through that corridor screamed second-class royal, and that sting, that constant humiliation, became fuel. Tom Bower warns this was more than personal anger. It was a ticking bomb for the royal family's global image. Because let's not sugarcoat it. Harry and Meghan's accusations weren't casual complaints. No, they were carefully sharpened weapons. Their racism allegations, they didn't just bruise the family, they crippled the monarchy's reputation worldwide. From the United States to the Caribbean, from Africa to the Commonwealth, it all landed like a thunderbolt. Institutional prejudice. Conversations about Archie's skin color. These weren't whispers anymore. These were global headlines. And let's be honest, once that genie was out of the bottle, it couldn't be stuffed back in. And here's where it spirals out of control. The Commonwealth realms, the countries still tied to the British crown, had already been questioning their connections. Now, Harry and Meghan basically handed every Republican movement a golden weapon. Countries already debating whether to cut ties with the monarchy suddenly had royal confirmation of their doubts. Imagine. Ex-royals validating what critics had been saying for decades. The palace couldn't have scripted a bigger disaster if they tried. And folks, the nightmare was just beginning. The Netflix documentary, that was just the teaser trailer. Insiders whispered that upcoming book releases were primed to wreak even more havoc. Every sit-down interview, every confessional Netflix moment, every upcoming chapter of their tell-all, it chipped away at centuries of carefully built respect for the monarchy. Bower says it outright. Harry and Meghan weren't stumbling through drama. They were strategically dismantling the institution piece by piece. Calculated, skillful, damaging, that's how Bower describes it. And honestly, he's not wrong. This wasn't just venting frustrations, it was a playbook of destruction. They knew exactly what accusations would sting the hardest in which corners of the world, and they deployed them with surgical precision. And let's talk about timing. Every revelation dropped like a bomb at the monarchy's weakest moments. Health scares, big celebrations, international tours, you name it. While the palace scrambled to manage one crisis, Harry and Meghan pulled the rug out from under them with another bombshell. It was like watching a chess game where one side was always 2 moves ahead. Think about it. These two understood the media landscape in ways the palace couldn't even dream of. Every modern PR trick, every viral strategy, every social media wave, Meghan and Harry were riding it to perfection. Meanwhile, the palace communications team looked like dinosaurs trapped in quicksand. And here's the kicker, corrections never go viral, do they? The damaging headline races across the globe, but the palace's clarification dies in the shadows. Harry and Meghan, they knew it, and they weaponized it. The result? Long-term destruction. Every royal event moving forward, whether it's a visit to the Commonwealth, a state dinner, or a diplomatic handshake, now hangs under a cloud of suspicion. Foreign leaders, global media, ordinary citizens, they're all whispering the same question. But weren't they accused of racism? Weren't they called out for prejudice? And once those questions start, the crown loses the power of mystique. That sacred aura cracks. And if you thought it couldn't get any more shocking, wait until you hear about the Queen's funeral. Yes, you heard that right. While William, Kate, Charles, and the rest of the family mourned, Meghan and Harry were allegedly plotting their next big reveal. Think about it. They were turning their grandmother's funeral into research material for their next Netflix drop or explosive book. Cold, calculated, chilling. And the performance didn't stop there. Publicly, they looked every bit the devoted, heartbroken family members. Privately, they stayed distant, cold, uncompromising. Every attempt at an olive branch shut down. Body language experts said it all. Staged smiles, rehearsed movements, but no genuine warmth. For the cameras, they were the grieving Duke and Duchess. For the family, they were strangers. Tom Bower makes it crystal clear, Harry and Meghan weren't in London to make peace. They were there to protect their brand. They wanted the credibility of showing up, the sympathy of grieving with the family, but none of the responsibility of actually repairing ties. It was a masterclass in PR manipulation. And the palace? Left reeling. They wanted reconciliation. They got exploitation. But here's where it turns from shocking to nuclear. Behind closed doors, Charles began realizing that Harry and Meghan weren't just troublesome relatives, they were active threats to the institution he now ruled. And that realization sparked what Tom Bower calls Charles's 2-step nuclear strategy. Step 1, strip the Sussexes of their titles. Imagine the impact. Meghan Markle, no longer a duchess. Just Meghan, former actress, Hollywood hustler. Harry, still technically a prince by birth, but a prince stripped of land, stripped of status, stripped of power. No Duke of Sussex title to prop up their brand. No royal designation to slap on their Netflix documentaries or Spotify podcasts. Just another celebrity couple in California. But Charles isn't stopping there. Step 2, even more brutal. Tom Bower says the king is prepared to make an unprecedented announcement that Harry and Meghan are no longer part of the royal family at all. Let that sink in. No royal patronages, no royal events, no recognition, no seat at the table. In Charles's eyes, they'd be completely severed. It wouldn't just be a symbolic gesture, it would be the King of England disowning his own son, publicly, globally, permanently. The implications? Catastrophic. The monarchy hasn't seen anything like this in modern history. This move would create a new class of royals, the working royals who serve the crown, and the exiled royals who've been formally rejected. Guess which group Harry and Meghan would fall into? And let's be clear, the timing of this plan is viciously strategic. Charles isn't acting in a hurry, he's biding his time, waiting for the Sussexes to hit their weakest point. And oh boy, that time might already be here. Think about it. Their Spotify deal, dead. Their Netflix partnership, wobbling. Their popularity in both Britain and the US, fading fast. The couple that once commanded global fascination is now being called overexposed and underperforming. Their brand is weakening, their relevance is slipping, and Charles, he's waiting to deliver the knockout punch when they're most vulnerable. This isn't just family drama anymore, it's survival. For Charles, it's not about patching things up with his son. It's about protecting the monarchy itself from two people who've made it their mission to exploit and dismantle it.